Does this have a mic? Oh. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 18, verse 29 and 30. So the 29 doesn't have purport, so read and chant 30 together. I'll just chant the verse 29. Evam striya jadi bhuto vidvanapi manognaya badam iti aha vivaso na tach chitram hi yositi. Translation. Although Kashyapa Muni was a learned scholar, he was captivated by Diti's artificial behavior, which brought him under her control. Therefore, he assured his wife that he would fulfill her desires. Such a promise by a husband is not at all astonishing. Text 30. Vilokyaikantabhutani Bhutani Adau Prajapati Striyam Chakre Swadehartam Yaya Pumsam Matir Hrita. You want to try chanting? Lokaikanti Bhutani Bhutani Adau Prajapati Striyam Chakre Swadehartam Yaya Pumsam Matir Hrita. Vilokya, seeing, Ekanta Bhutani, detached, Bhutani, the living entities, Adav, in the beginning, Prajapati, Lord Brahma, Striyam, the woman, Chakre, created, Swadeha of his body, Ardham half, Yaya by whom, Pumsam of men, Mati the mind, Rita carried away. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. In the beginning of creation, Lord Brahma, the father of the living entities of the universe, saw that all the living entities were unattached. To increase population, he then created woman from the better half of man's body. For woman's behavior carries away a man's mind. For both. The entire universe is going on under the spell of sexual attachment, which was created by Lord Brahma to increase the population of the entire universe. Not only in human society, but also in other species. It's stated by Rishabhadeva in the 5th canto. Pumsa striya mittuni bhavam etam. The entire world is going on under the spell of sexual attachment and desire between man and woman. When man and woman unite, the hard knot of this attraction becomes increasingly tight. And thus a man is implicated in the materialistic way of life. This is the illusion of the material world. The illusion accepted upon Kashyapa Muni, although he was very learned and advanced in spiritual knowledge. As stated in the Manu Samhita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Manu Samhita 2.215 and Srimad Bhagavatam 9:19-17. Matra swasra duhitra va na viviktasano bhavet balavan indriya gramo vidvamsam apikarshati. A man should not associate with a woman in a solitary place, not even with his mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they lead astray even a person advanced in knowledge. When a man remains in a solitary place with a woman, his sexual desires undoubtedly increase. Therefore, the word ekanta bhutani, which are used here, indicate that to avoid sexual desires, one should avoid the company of a woman as far as possible. Sexual desire is so powerful that one is saturated with it if he stays in a solitary place with any woman, even his mother, sister, or daughter. Om Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Devamrita Swaminiti Namini. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivakti Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Very amazing translation and purport. You can see how Srila Prabhupada is writing and without compromise. This is a pure devotee. Is not um, obligated. He's not expecting anything from anyone. He's basically trying to show compassion and speak the truth for all time to come. These books are law books with all these warnings. Srimad Bhagavatam, as we are reading, there are examples of what we should do and what we should not do. So it's mentioned sometimes we read about these pure devotees and we're wondering like, what's he or she doing? But it's explained sometimes out of compassion. The devotees even show us what not to do. And they're basically saying, don't be like me. Don't do this. So it's a very amazing book, Srimad Bhagavatam, full of pastimes, showing us how to be careful. Also, recently I was hearing a class by my spiritual master Devamrita Maharaj, and he was talking about this pastime of Kala Krishna Das in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going to South India on a tour, and it's an amazing pastime, all the places he visited and teachings and like that. But in this example, he wanted to go by himself. He didn't want to, be bothered by anybody else. Like usually when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu travel anywhere, there's like an army of devotees wanted to follow him, or they follow him. And Mahaprabhu didn't want this. He wanted to just go by himself. But Nityananda Prabhu begged him, hey, Mahaprabhu, please consider just taking one of my associates. I'll give you. And this individual, his name is Kala Krishnadas, and he won't bother you. He'll just carry your water pot because you have to chant on one hand and you have danda and you have your water pot, and sometimes you're traveling through dangerous forests. It's always good to have someone. And Nityananda Prabhu convinced him to, to take Kala Krishnadas with him. And then, long story short, there was this group of gypsies, Bhattaharis. They dress up like renunciants. They're like a group of thieves and dacoits. So they have beautiful women in their camp. What they do is they send this beautiful woman to attract men, and then the men will come to their camp, and this way they grow their population. So Kala Krishna Das went with one of these ladies, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being omniscient, he knew where to find him. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to rescue Kala Krishnadas. They came with the sword and all kinds of weapons, but Mahaprabhu's Potsi, the weapons cut their own bodies, and many of them were like severely injured and bleeding and dead. And Mahaprabhu, brought back Kala Krishnadas. So in the purport, I was just reading, I wanted to read this translation and purport. There's a couple of them. Prabhupada is making amazing points about about Maya and the free will of a living entity. So this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya, Madhya Lila, chapter 10, verse 65. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is back in Bengal, and he's telling his associates, now that I brought him here, I'm asking him to leave. Now he can go anywhere, wherever he likes, for I'm no longer responsible for him. Mahaprabhu is upset. So-called this person was going to assist him, but he disturbed his, um, sadhana and services. Purport. Kala Krishna Das was influenced and allured by nomads or gypsies who enticed him with women. Maya is so strong that Kala Krishna Das left Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's company to join gypsy women. This is the amazing point. Please hear carefully. Even though a person may associate with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he can be allured by Maya and leave the Lord's company due to his slight independence. Only one who is overwhelmed by Maya can be so unfortunate as to leave Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's company. Yet, unless one is very conscientious, the influence of Maya can drag one away, even though he be the personal assistant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What to speak of others? The Bhattaharis used to increase their numbers by using women to allure outsiders. This is factual evidence showing that it is possible that any time to fall down from the Lord's association. One need only misuse his little independence. Once fallen and separated from the Supreme Personality of God's association, one becomes a candidate for suffering in the material world. Anyway, there's one more line, but when I did the snapshot, it kind of got smudged. So, oh yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you. Once fallen and separated from the Supreme Personality of God's association, one becomes a candidate for suffering in the material world. Although rejected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kala Krishna Das was given another chance, as the following verses relate. So basically, This is an amazing point that Srila Prabhupada is making. Um, how it's possible for us to fall down even if we are in close association with the Supreme Personality of God. And many times these questions come up like, if we were with Krishna, how did we come to the material world? And then now their devotees are offering him a different servant. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu makes his condition what this other person should be like. So this one, I don't even have the verse. Snapshot. Anyways, it's the translation and purport. It says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is talking about his new servant. He says such a person must be a new man and he must have a peaceful mind. If I can obtain such a man, I shall agree to take him with me. Again, Prabhupada is going to talk about Kala Krishna Das and his fall down. Formerly, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to South India, a Brahmana named Kala Krishna Das went with him. Kala Krishna Das fell victim to woman, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to take the trouble to free him from the clutches of gypsies. Therefore, the Lord here says that He wants a new man who is peaceful in mind. One whose mind is not peaceful is agitated by certain drives, especially sex desire, even though he may be in the company of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Such a man will become a victim of woman and will fall down even in the company of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maya is so strong that unless one is determined not to fall victim, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot give him protection. See how important it is to be determined. Maya is so strong that unless one is determined not to fall victim, even the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot give him protection. The Supreme Lord and his representative always want to give protection, but a person must take advantage of their personal contact. If one thinks that the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative is an ordinary man, he will certainly fall down. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not want a person like Kala Krishna Das to accompany him. He wanted someone who was determined, who had a peaceful mind, and who was not agitated by ulterior motives. Amazing. So we see how Prabhupada is repeatedly making this point. It's not a it's not some magic. You can be like there were so many disciples. They were servants of Prabhupada, but many of them unfortunately left. Prabhupada actually said that if you judge who is very close associate of mine by the physical proximity, I would say is the mosquito. Because the mosquito is the one that's like, what's the business of a mosquito? Is simply to bother. So there were many devotees, they were close associates of Prabhupada, but uh, because of familiarity, sometimes like they say, if you're too close to a mountain, you can only see the rock. near you. You can't see the peak. Similarly, there were so many devotees, close associates of Prabhupada, um, but they unfortunately made offense and they left. Like they say, to be very close to the spiritual master and the deities, it's very dangerous in a sense. It's like razor's edge. If you have a sharp blade, you can have a clean shave, but if you're not careful, there can be like cut and bleeding. It's like being on a freeway. If we can reach the distance very fast, but if we're sleepy or something, then can die very quickly. So in association with pure devotees, especially like spiritual master and deity, that's why sometimes the spiritual master is very strict and don't allow us to come close. Sometimes even after decades and decades, the spiritual master is always on guard for our benefit. Because sometimes we come too close, we make offenses and fall down. So Prabhupada is making this point that it's possible to become victim of Maya unless we are like determined. It's not an automatic thing because we still have the free will. Mama Maya Duratya is like in the beginning of the Gita, excuse me, Arjuna is preaching to Krishna. And Krishna is, you know, it's not saying anything. It's like many times we meet with family, friends, people on book distribution. They want to preach to you, like they want to give you a lecture about. So it's like, they're not ready to, be enlightened. And sometimes they even get offended. They're like, What? Why you don't want to, why you don't want to talk to me? Like, I'm asking you a question. So sometimes we have to mention humbly, you're not ready for any wisdom. You have like too much ego. Your ears are not ready for it. Like this says in the Bible, I have so much to tell you, but your ears are not ready for it. So Arjuna is preaching to Krishna, and then he comes to a dead end. He's like ran out of words. He's all like dried up. His Gandiva bow is slipping and his mouth is parched, and he's like really having a breakdown, really having a crisis. Nothing like we can even come close to. We think we have problem, but when we read the books, we see how Krishna is putting his pure devotees through fire. That when we go through troubles just by reading about them, we see how to behave, how to come out of this situation. And then Arjuna is begging Krishna speak, and then says Krishna spoke smilingly, one of the verses. It says, because Krishna's thing here is Arjuna, my brother-in-law, my student, everybody's in Maya. He's in the chariot with me and he's in Maya. So the close proximity is amazing. We can have that, and if we can be careful. But unfortunately, many of the times we are not careful, we're not determined, we're too familiar, and naturally it leads to fall down, especially offenses. The holy name can protect us from Maya if we are carefully chanting our rounds for that day. But if we are not careful, there are so many things that can agitate our mind. I noticed that even as an innocent thing as like a snack on an airplane can ruin your whole day or whole week or even your spiritual life. It's just they're small things, but there are for it's a reason that the scriptures say don't do this. Don't eat food prepared by the um, non-devotees. Don't make offenses. If we do these things, then we're not protected. We are open for contamination. And then even small things like that pastime of Sabari Muni in the Krishna book. There is this yogi, he is under the water for meditating for 10,000 years. He offended Garuda, and all of a sudden he lost all his determination and discrimination. He just saw two pair of fish having sex, and then he's like, you know, he's there for like 10,000 years, and all of a sudden something went off in his head, like, oh. It's like when we're walking around, there's pigeons mating, there's the sparrows mating. It's not like we're not even yogis and we're not affected, but Sabari Muni lost the mercy and determination. Then he's like, oh my God, I'm missing out. Then he comes out and he wanted to find a wife, and he goes to this king. He looked like seaweed. He was stinky. Can you imagine like being underwater so long? And he's asking this king for a daughter to marry him, and he's being a king, diplomatic. He said, I have 50 daughters, you can meet them, and if any of them want to marry you, you can. The king didn't want to be cursed. So Sabari Muni changes his appearance with his yogic powers, and all of the 50 daughters, they want to marry him. They're fighting over him, and they all married him. And he had 10 children with each of them. And he was lamenting, like, what happened to me? I was peacefully chanting, meditating. Now I have to deal with 500 children and 50. I can't imagine. Hard to raise one child in this day and age. Like Dakshyam Kudumba Bharanam. So this is the potency of Maya. There is this great sage Vishwamitra. He was meditating for 60,000 years. 60,000 years. We can't even meditate for 60 seconds. And then Indra was worried, oh my God, this person is going to attain some powers and take over my position or something. So he sends one of these heavenly damsels, Menaka. And she just comes and shakes her ankle bells, like a piece of cheap tin, sound of a. And Vishwamitra Muni's 60,000 years of meditation is finished. Fell in love with her, and then like that. There are so many examples of Mama Maya Duratyaya. And Prabhupada is explaining in the purport and in the translation, it's just not some ordinary people that get bewildered. Is even if you're a great scholar, deeply learned scholar, Vidwan, Vidwan, Vidwan means great scholar. Vidvam sam api karshati. even a great scholar um, can be bewildered. And the potency of Maya is so strong that Maya is seeing, um, our heart, like we were discussing the other day. Yamaraj and Maya, they're given access to the heart of a living entity. So Maya can even use our own compassion to make us fall down. Like Bharat Maharaj, he was very compassionate to a deer, and then he kind of consciously chose to ignore his sadhana, and he was on the bhava platform, one step before prema, love of Godhead. And then he fell, and yeah, that's yeah, he consciously, you know, that's the point Prabhupada's making, that even if we are with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or even we are on the Bhava platform, or like that, there is the slight independence is there, and then you choose to worship the deer instead of worshiping the Lord. So, in other words, nobody is innocent. We're all basically um, facing our consequences. Nobody is innocent. Everybody is being served according to the choices we are making. So Bharat Maharaj became a deer. So there are innumerable pastimes showing how to be careful. But the point is, the strength comes from uh, our sadhana. We can discuss all we want, how this one fell down, how that one fell down. But if we are not careful, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing with so much feeling this verse, Ai Nanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhavambudo Kripaya Tava Pada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrisham Vichintaya. Mahaprabhu is saying, I'm your eternal servant. Nanda Tanuja, oh Maharaj, son of Maharaj Nanda. I'm your eternal servant, but somehow or other I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up, place me as an atom once again in your lotus feet. That's what it is when we're chanting japa. We are asking for help. We are helpless. We are like totally helpless. Sometimes the flies and the fruit flies and all these things come into the room. But then there is this open window and they think they can fly out, but there is a mesh. They should just go and like try to like bang their head against the mesh, but it's like so complicated. It's so complicated. It's like they're basically going to die. Somehow or other, they made it their way into a little room. So, we have made it into this world, and, we need help. So that's what the chanting is. And it can be stressed enough. Um, Chanting and daily reading of Srila Prabhupada's books to keep our intelligence sharp. So we can discriminate, we can resist. Not on our own, we also get the mercy of the Lord uh, when we're. It's like both ways. It's not like, oh, people practice yoga, meditation, this, that, they think it's their superpowers that they are accomplishing thing, but then they're on their own. And sometimes we say, oh, this mentality of the Lord wants, then He will save me. Whenever I need mercy, I need this and that. But it's there, but it's both. It's just not like, oh, the Lord's mercy or the individual strength is. It's like when Mother Yashoda was trying to bind Krishna. She was not able to, and she was perspiring, working hard. Then Krishna led her. So the two fingers too short, the Lord's mercy and the devotee's hard work. So the Prabhupada is given us the 16 rounds and this precious purpose. So if we just make time to give pride of place for these two activities, to chant and to read, then we'll be secure for that day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, this world is full of contamination, Kali Yuga. Again, next day we wake up and like a brand new devotee, just like starting all over again, just like we need help. We have to be careful, like I'm in very precarious position. I need help. Please, please help me. And overflow of all that is our services and bringing others and this and that. You have to be so conscious. I remember one time I was distributing books with uh, one of my god brothers, and we were already doing for 6 hours of books, and he was having a rough day. Not only he was not able to sell books, and people were returning the books to him that they bought from other days. So he was completely fried, and he just sat down. And then I was like, "Are you okay, Prabhu?" He said, "I just realized I haven't chanted one name of Krishna or thought about Krishna this whole time I was on books." So that was his realization. So that can happen to us. We can chant our rounds without hearing even one mantra out of the 1700 something mantras. And we can go about the whole day without thinking about deities or philosophy. Sometimes we go in the deity kitchen to cook and nothing work, even the basic things don't work out. And realize I didn't begin by offering prayers. I didn't beg for mercy, nothing. I'm just wanted to get it over with. Then Krishna is giving a reminder like it's a very confidential thing just to make some chapatis for the deities, not a joke. So like this, if you are conscious, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam taranti. Krishna says, Machita sarva durgani mat prasadat dharishyasi ata chetvam ahankaram nasochati na vinashyati. Krishna says that if we are conscious of Him, we can cross over all the obstacles. And if we are not conscious of Him, we will be finished. So that's the essence. The negative thing is we have to be careful, scared of Maya. The positive alternative is we have to chant our rounds and read Prabhupada's book. And this way we are protected and we can be, we can go the distance happily. So I'll stop here. If any of do you have any questions or any thoughts? Thank you for coming to class, even though you came from New York last night. Oh, wow, you're really a warrior. You want to? Sorry.
Mm, I was wondering how we can like bring savings right this goes really real good. He's feeling very like mental about the surface. So I was just thinking today, how is it possible to if we get stuck on a rut where we feel like we're just like surviving through our devotional service, like we're not thriving, but it's just like an everyday kind of grind. How can we get out of that and come to like a place where we're actually doing we're thriving and actually
Hmm. Yes. So again, it's just a reminder. We have to remind ourselves, what we were and where we are now. I heard this example of one security guard in a temple, and a businessman comes by and leaves behind a lot of wealth, like in a briefcase. And the security person didn't touch the wealth. He gives it back to the businessman. And the businessman, being so wealthy and so impressed by him, he gives him a large sum of money and he becomes very wealthy. And one day, somebody comes in his bedroom, and this, wealthy person now, who was a security guard, was dressed up in the dress of a security and he was standing in front of the mirror. And somebody asked him, what are you doing? He said, oh, I just wanted to periodically remind myself, like, where I was and where I am now, so it doesn't get to my head. So Prahlad Maharaj also advises from his own example that, healthy um, regret, healthy remembrance of where we were and what we are being given now is a good thing. Like the psychology would think, oh, that's like low self-esteem, this, that, but because sometimes um, we forget the blessings and the exalted position we are in now. And also, I had to remind myself, um, because I'm always thinking like, okay, like what's next? Okay, I'm in, Atlanta. Now I'm going to Gita Nagari. Okay, now I'm in Gita Nagari. Now I'm going to LA. Okay, now, I had to remind myself, this is it, just calm down. There is, the geography may be different. We may be here, we may be in LA or New Zealand, but this is it. It's not going to get any better. And we have to do our part, and service and sadhana is all there is for the rest of our life. And we have to do it nicely, that we can skip over it thinking like, oh, I'll do it when I'm in better position or when I'm in a place where I like to be. No, this is it. We already, like Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj was trembling in the last stages, advanced stage of cancer, but kept saying to Radhanath Maharaj, this is it. It doesn't get any better than this. This is it. This is. So we have it. Like sometimes when I was distributing books, the devotees ask me, like, so what's your plan? Like, so what do you mean? Like, this is it. I'm already doing it. There is nothing greater, at least for my service. I'm already here. I'm already doing it. Like I'm just praying that I can do it for the rest of my life. So it's just a healthy reminder and hearing uh, so we can be reminded of all these things. I'm sorry if I did I answer your question. Thank you. Yes. So it's the nature also, or if we are young and we come from background of like we wanna accomplish thing, like we wanna move forward, like like go like that. It takes some time to. I'm catching myself after like 25 years of chanting. I'm just like we have to do this nicely. We have to take it seriously and get into it. This is it. There is nothing greater. There is no maybe this or that, but the essence is that we already have it now. I guess somebody is asking. Oh, James Prabhu, what is the question, James Prabhu?
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the very, very nice class. My question, I had two questions, but for the sake of time, maybe I'll just ask one. My question's on the topic of familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've heard, this notion many times not to become too familiar. And um, I was trying to see maybe my conception of it is different, or maybe you can help me on a better conception of this. Because, like, for example, here in Atlanta, I'm doing service with quite a few devotees, and I'm one of those individuals that is not necessarily, if you do service with me or interact with me consistently, you probably get the vibe that I'm the kind of person that's a very open book as far as I, if someone asks me, details about myself, I have no problem sharing these details because within my head, I don't really see them as anything that's significant. But they may not be details that the next person may want to share about themselves, as I've seen through my own observation. So I can see that this can bring some type of familiarity. And, I've heard this notion of not to become too familiar. So, like, I've tested it myself as far as not sharing so much about myself with people that I interact with very consistently. And I've even had people ask me, like, oh, is everything okay? Because I'm acting somewhat different. And even within
Mm.
myself, I can see behaving in that self isn't natural to me. So I'm trying to see, is that familiarity, or is that not the right conception of what you were speaking about?
So, if I understand correctly, you're saying you're giving too much information about yourself and others are not to you.
No, like, if someone asks me something about myself, I have no problem sharing it, but I
Mm-hmm.
can see from other people I interact with, they may not want to share information like that. Um, so I can
Yeah,
see, yeah.
it's an individual thing. Just be yourself. There's nothing wrong with being yourself. And over time, as we mature, we kind of have the wherewithal to talk more about Krishna consciousness and relevant things than to share or talk too much. I mean, I go through that myself. I share too much, but sometimes I catch myself and realize it's not necessary and it's not relevant to this other person. So it's always best to uh, be more, bring the topics more centered around Krishna consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Things develop over time. That's what I'm saying. Just be yourself. There's nothing wrong what you're doing. Just the longer we are practicing, we get more like a sober in a sense that you talk exactly what needs to be addressed and things like that. But you know, I guess we are out of time now. Or maybe who else has a question? Kala Swarup?
Hi, Bo. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was just going to, I guess, offer a thought on James' question, um, which is that like revealing your mind isn't
Mhm.
necessarily familiarity in like the way that I think we usually talk about it. I think when we say becoming too familiar, we mean thinking like, oh, I don't have to like be respectful towards the senior because like, we're just good friends. Or, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter if I come in like, 5 minutes before the offering and just whip something together because, oh, Krishna's very merciful for Prabhu and, Prabhupada's very merciful, so you don't have to follow everything so
Yeah.
strictly. And I think kind of in answering James's question, like, I don't think it's necessarily an issue per se, if like, you're just very open about yourself, because I don't think that's kind of familiarity.
Thank you, Prabhu. We have to end here the Hare Krishna.